Hello everybody. Okay, today I'm going to show you these bracelets that we're going to be making. Not every single one of them, but I just have to make one to show you the basic concept. So these are the bracelets. Let me get a better view. Again, sorry about my lighting. I still have to get some. Now, there are many different ones. They're basically wire wrap, and some of these beads, or precious stones rather. And I'm going to show you, all you need to do is get some wire and some of these stones. You can look for beads that are big enough. You can do it with all different types, but I made a few different things and I'm going to show you and tell you how I did that, and I'll get back to these, and they come with a few different colors. And you could add regular beads to it, and you can just embellish it by wrapping more wire around it. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how I did this. Well, I'm going to show you some of the things you're going to need. First, you're going to need a set of jewelry making tools. Now this is a basic set. They do have a more advanced set with even more tools like split ring, pliers and other things, but this is your basic standard set of jewelry tools. Okay, and like I said before on many of my videos from my DIY crafts playlist on my channel, you can get these at any craft store, Walmart, dollar stores, and even online. So the next thing you're going to need is some wiring, and you're going to need some beads. Now this set of beads I had gotten, they're big, the semi-precious stones, and they come in assorted sizes and colors. That doesn't come with the chain. I was making something, so. And I got this at Michael's, and it was around $11 to $12, but you can always get coupons. They have discounts and you can sign up. So, and it comes with all different shapes and sizes. I've made tons of jewelry with this, yet I still have plenty. Okay, so now for the wiring. This kind of wiring, as you can see, if you're not familiar with gauges and doing wire jewelry, what you need to know with the gauges is the higher the gauge number, the thinner the wire. The lower the gauge number, the thicker the wire. Now I have gotten these at Lowe's and Home Depot. It's just regular welding wire. And why I get this, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with my other videos on my channel, on my DIY crafts playlist, where I talk about the welding wire that I got, because when you're practicing you will go through a lot of wire, especially if you're not familiar with wires and the gauges and all of that stuff. It's best to get some practice wire. This way you can make really good jewelry, and you're not wasting or buying gold and real gold and silver wire and then having to waste it and throw it out, and that's a little more pricey. So even if you are really good at jewelry, this is a good idea to still have it. And they do come in copper, which is much more expensive because it's, you know, industrial stuff. Anyway, but with this, the only thing to keep in mind is the thickness. So sometimes they don't have the gauges. This is the thinner one, and this is thicker, and this is even thicker. So it's good to have a couple of different. It's about to get noisy. My neighbor's kids are here and they're noisy upstairs. So this is the thinnest one. So it's good to have a couple of different sizes, so when you're making jewelry you'll be able to distinguish which you want. Okay, so what I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet. Now there are a lot of different ways you can make this. One is by using a wide enough can that would look like the size of your wrist. The other is to use a friend's arm, and that isn't always easy to go by because you might want to do your crafts by yourself. Another thing is to get something you know, equivalent to the size and width of your wrist or of an average wrist. And they do have things like that at craft stores. But what I do is I try to get this, okay, and I try to, what I like about this is you can keep it in a circular thing. So figure you're gonna go and take about 5 or 6 strands, however thick you want this bracelet to be. Okay, and you're gonna keep that round circle so you don't kink it. Now you're gonna wanna leave, let's see if you can see it, some in the beginning, like this, and then enough at the end, because we're going to need that bit of extra. So even if you had too much at the end, don't worry. So now we're going to get our cutter pliers and cut. Now you're going to need a clamp of some kind. This is a hair clamp, but whatever you have to clamp it. Sometimes we have to make do. Now get your 2 loose ends and pull it. Do it gently though. Just do it so they all come together, okay? And you're going to want to make it smaller because it's going to be a bangle, but you don't want it humongous unless it's going to be, you know, like the size of your upper arm if you're going to make an upper arm bracelet. Okay, so you're constantly going to be pulling the outer bands to make it tighter. To make them come in, because they're all going to come together in the end. And you just have to keep pulling. Now if you do this with the can or something, it's now just keep bunching them up together, okay? And when you think you've got enough, get your clamp, okay, get your clamp and clamp an end. Now see how that's done? Put your wrist through it, because what you want to see is how big it's going to be. Now I have small wrists, but that's good. I can get it over my hands and it's not going to be too big. So remove the clamp, tighten it just a little bit more by pulling the ends and then making sure this all comes together. You have to keep working it. And again, if you think it got a little bigger, go back, slip it over your hand, and keep pulling the ends. But be gentle because you don't want to crimp this. Okay, so when you got it the way you want, go over where the bands cross and clamp it. And now I'll show you the next step. Now if you're going to do this, everybody's hands are a different size, so don't worry about that. Okay, so now you've gone ahead and it should look like this. Okay, once you've taken the strands off, try to keep that circular angle shape, and wrapping it and gathering it and tighten it by pulling the ends. Now what we're going to do is to keep it from falling apart and getting loose. So we're going to take the wire and we're going to go either on top or underneath, however you want to do it, and wrap it a few times. You can wrap it about 4 to 5 times around. Do it neat, and then we're going to use pliers to push them forward. So I'm just going to do it 4 times right now. You can do it more if you'd want. All right, maybe one more time. Okay. Now you can leave this piece sticking. Now you can leave this piece sticking out. See that? See how I did that? Okay. Now we're going to go on this end and we're going to do the same thing. Go from the top or the bottom as close as you can to your clamp and just keep winding it And try to be as neat as you can. We will fix these. And make sure you do it the same amount. If you did a 4 on the other end, do it that way. But I did 5, so I'm going to do 1 more. And then I'm going to leave, so there. I'm going to leave those pieces hanging out. Now, let's try to get you to more lighting here. See how I did that? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the clamp because it's not going anywhere. And I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to squeeze this in. And I apologize, the light around here isn't that bright. Maybe a little bit over here. There we go. So we're going to squeeze that in. And then get my other pliers, and you see where it's sticking up just a hair up there. I'm going to take it and then kind of crunch it and push them together. So now we're going to go to the other end. We're going to do the same thing. Push them together. Crunch them down until they look neat. They don't have to be perfect because that's the idea with wire wrapping. Okay? Okay. So now the next part is we need to put this in the center. Okay. So I have a piece here and you're going to take it and fit it through your bead or your precious stone, which should have a hole in there. And we're going to put it through. Try to make it in the center, okay? Okay, now we're going to clip this off, but what you want to do is kind of bend it forward and then clip it off as much as you can. And we want to make sure this is flush because you don't want that scraping you or anybody else if you're making them to sell or give as gifts. And you could also get a little nail file and just dull the point at the end. So we're gonna smush that up and just adjust it. So that's better that it's facing outwards than in, because when you're pushing it over your wrist and stuff, you don't want it to bother you. Now we're going to do the next one. Just bend that a little and let's, as close as we can. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to adjust it, adjust the wires. See, they're not close enough, so we're going to take, so we're going to take that and we're going to adjust it. Okay? Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because this is just to show you. But you want to make sure that isn't sticking up too much. If it is, go ahead and take your cutters and go as close as you can and snip off another little piece. And then make sure you file it down so it's not pointy because you don't want to scratch yourself or have anybody else scratch themselves, okay? And so once you go in there, now you're going to take your bead and you're going to place it whatever side you like best on the front. Okay, so let's do that, and then you're going to put this underneath and go around once and do the same thing here. Go like this and go around once. You could do it twice if you want, but once you got it like that, now you're going to move it and put it around to use up the whole entire thing. And again, keep in mind, it doesn't have to look perfect because it's supposed to look that way. It's supposed to look handmade. All right, now we're going to go over the other way. Okay, so now you wrapped it around one way and the other way, and it should look like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to adjust these. You're going to use your pliers and kind of crimp them together and trying to even them out and tuck in the ends, and whatever sticks out, go and take your cutter pliers and snip them. And now if there isn't enough for you to go around, you can get another piece of wire and wrap it around again and then cut off the excess and tuck it in good. Make sure it's in there really good. And the back should look something like that. And then you repeat. If you want the 3, you put another one on this side. What you would do is you take some more wiring, wrap it around 4 times, do it again over here, then over here and here, here and here. So it depends, but make sure it's even. You don't want the other one too close. Just like this one, I didn't do the 3, I did the 4, but I didn't wrap this one. I just attached and then made with the excess over there, but I wrapped these 2. So like I said, it's not going to be perfect all the time. You're going to have to finagle with this and mess with it and make sure it's neater. And if you want a thicker one, see the pieces sticking out, you have to use your pliers. Okay, you're going to have to mess with it with your pliers every now and then to just stick that in there and make sure it's good and clamped. Okay, now you can just leave one once you get it all fixed up, but on this end I would definitely do a wrap like I did with this one, see? Just to hold them better and they look neater and it comes together. You could also do a whole bangle with just these. Okay, so you can also add some beads after you put these in and wrap, and then you put this in. You can add a bead to the wire that goes through your bead and add another little bead and then wrap underneath, and that's what it could look like if you don't want to do the wrap around. Okay, and you can leave that open if you'd like, or you can secure that with another piece. Now on this one right here, I did 1 wrap around and 2 that didn't have a wrap around in here, and then I cut so that I can, you know, I can slip it over and then I can just adjust. But in the ends, you see this? Now I did get a bead and I put some glue in there. These beads were wide enough to hold it together, but you should file that's sticking out and then add some jewelry glue, some clear jewelry glue like E6000, and it'll hold it in place. But I would definitely file those ends just in case they happen to go through the bead. You don't want to get scratched, or if you make them to sell, you certainly don't want any of your customers to get scratched. Okay, and that was another way. I just simply cut the bottom, took out a piece, filed it down, took a bead with the hole big enough, and put it through. Okay, and glued it. Put some glue in there. And that's that one. Again, I apologize for my lighting. And this one's a singular one that I just made. This one I used the black stone and I did that, 3 like that, and it looks good on. And I have a video showing you what they all look on me, with the one with me saying a jewelry update on my DIY crafts playlist on my channel. Okay, so I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please leave it on the bottom at the comment section and I will answer you. This was just a quick video because my battery's about to go. And if you want to know anything more about how to do this, if you need for me to show you how to wrap that again, you can use a can or someone's arm or something big enough. But remember, if you get one of these at Home Depot or Lowe's, to clean it, once you cut it, clean it with some cloth or paper towel and use rubbing alcohol, not water, because it gets a little sooty. Because see, I don't know if you could tell, my hand's a little black because this is, after all, just welding wire. And then when you get good enough, you can get real silver, copper, and gold. And again, you just want to make sure you have two ends sticking out for the wraparound. So, and this is so good because it keeps the round form, and then you tighten it and tighten it. And remember to try it on and keep tightening it and get something to clamp it. Okay? Well, I hope you liked that video. And if you want more like that, just look at my DIY crafts videos playlist on my channel, and I try to add 2 to 3 videos or more a month. Thanks for watching, and watch my next video with showing you how to make this beaded chain bracelet.